It figures that the first time anything weird occurred, it would involve my coworker Sonia. I had told her how sometimes I could hear a voice in my head when I was meditating. I saw that she heard me, but she didn't comment. Eventually, we would both be taking care of Tony, and that is when it all began. Tony was a young man who was diagnosed with AIDS. Back in the 80s, having AIDS was pretty much a death sentence. Although he was alone and distraught, Tony refused to let me contact anyone. He had family, but did not want to call them because they didn't know he was gay, and he just knew they would die if they found out. I was frustrated and sad that he was so alone in his fear and grief. He was my patient and I wanted to help, but I felt my hands were tied. What could I do? That night at home, I started thinking about Tony. I imagined seeing him in my mind. I could see him lying in his bed. I imagined I was talking with him. I don't remember everything we talked about. I know we discussed his feelings and his fears, but I don't remember what was said. I didn't spend much time, but sent him a lot of love and support. The next day, Sonia was Tony's nurse. After her initial assessment, she excitedly came over and asked me, "Did you do anything unusual last night?" "What do you mean, unusual?" "Well, did you by any chance have a conversation with Tony?" "Yeah, I did. Why?" She got all excited. "He wants to call his parents to tell them everything. He said an angel came to him in the night. He said they had a talk and he knew things would be all right." "Really? That's weird." "Okay, whatever." I could feel Sonia staring at me. "Stop looking at me that way." "What way?" "You know what way, with those googly wonder eyes. There ain't nothing happening around here." She shook her head and laughed. Tony did call his family, and they were totally loving and supportive of him. They became very involved in his care. I wondered, is something happening around here? I shook my head. Don't know, can't think, gotta work, get going, Linda. I don't remember how much time passed, maybe a week, a month. One day I was assigned to a young boy named Sam. I don't remember his history, but apparently he'd been in the ICU for a few days, transferred to pediatrics, and now returned comatose to the ICU. He'd had some kind of a head trauma and now was having seizures. His doctor said he had a very poor prognosis and wasn't likely to live. That's all the story I had. I walked into his room. For some reason, I just stood there at the foot of his bed, and in my mind I said, "Hello." In my imagination, I saw a blazingly angry boy. He was yelling, "I'll teach him. I'm going to die, and then they'll be sorry." What? Holy moly, what's going on here? Am I really seeing this? I have no idea, but I don't see how I could be making this up. So, in my mind, I asked him, "What's up with you? Why are you so angry?" "I'm angry that my dad took me away. He shouldn't have done that. And I'm angry because my mother treats me like a baby." Whoa, is this real? I don't know what the heck he's talking about. What do I do now? What do I say? "Okay, Linda, calm down and just talk." I told him, "Yeah, you could teach them really good. You could hurt them bad, but you're going to hurt yourself even worse if you die. How old are you, 8, 9? If you just wait a few years, you'll be old enough that no one can tell you what to do. You can do whatever you want. You'll have your whole life to live. Wouldn't you like to do that instead?" He actually listened. After a few moments, he said, "Well, I hadn't thought of it like that. You could be right. I'll think about it." Well, okay then. I let it go and started doing my nursing care of this comatose boy. I wasn't sure what had just happened, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. Later on, when his mom came to visit him, I started feeling this revved up energy inside of me. I didn't know if it was fear or anticipation. I felt like I was going to erupt. I had a strong urge to tell her what I had seen, so I said, "You know what? I was pretending in my mind I was talking to Sam, and man, he was pissed off. When I asked him why, he told me he was angry at his dad for taking him away and angry at you for treating him like a baby." I held my breath and watched her. She stared at me and then started crying. She sat down with her head in her hands and sobbed. Uh-oh, now what? I put my arm around her and waited. She told me that shortly after Sam was born, she and his father had separated. Then his father had kidnapped him. After all this time, she had gotten Sam back less than a year ago. She was so afraid of losing him again that she kept a very tight rein on him. I don't let him play with his friends after school. I know it bothers him. We're always arguing about it. He tells me I treat him like he's a baby. I know he's more mature than the average kid and needs more freedom, but I'm so afraid of losing him again. She turned to Sam, leaned her head against his and said, I'm sorry. That night, after I left work, Sam woke up. The next day he was transferred back to pediatrics. I was off work for a couple of days, but when I got back, I went to see him. I walked into his room. He was sitting on the side of his bed with his back to me. His mom and her boyfriend were facing me. She smiled and said, hi. I went to face Sam, stuck out my hand and said, hi Sam, my name is Linda. I was one of your nurses in the ICU. He said, I know who you are and I know what you did. Then he threw his arms around me and hugged me. What? Oh my God, I'm going to cry. I don't know what to say or think. What is happening here? All I could do was hold him back. When we parted, I looked at his mom and her mouth was open. I gave Sam another big squeeze, told him to take care and have a great life. Then I left. Actually, I left in kind of a hurry. This was too weird. What had just happened? Did his mom tell him? Did he remember? How could he? What does this mean? I don't know. But it was a profound experience for me. I think something is happening here. Crazily, a couple of months later, I was talking about this story to some friends of mine. It turned out they actually knew the family and told me Sam was happier, doing well, and getting along with his mom. She had released some of her fear and was letting him live life again. I thought that was cool, but I tucked it away on the I can't explain it shelf in my mind. So these are my first two experiences in a bunch of experiences over the next 30 years. Are you still with me? Do you want to hear more? It was the beginning. Wow, what a trip I've been on. I hope you'll continue tripping with me. Hi, I'm Linda+Ingalls. I'm a critical care nurse and I talk to my patients' spirits. I help them and they help me to evolve even when I don't want to. This book, I may be crazy but it's all good, is my memoir. It contains our stories. They'll make you laugh, they're gonna make you cry. They'll inform you, empower you, and inspire you to have hope and trust and love. I hope you read it, because dude, this love's for you. Okay, that's it. Bye.